Interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or MOUNJARO? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or MOUNJARO. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 MOUNJARO TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity, related diseases and disorders, and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together. The Plus Sides Podcast, because every story deserves to be heard, every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
Alive on the MOUNJARO, it's on the pen alive, with your host David Knapp.
Good evening and welcome to the stream. I'm Dave Knapp, man of the Majara. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. That's why you're here. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Manjaro, Zepbound, that pen. Welcome to the stream. How are y'all doing tonight? I hope that you're doing well. Jennifer, Sue, Terrence, AJ, Lil Chi, what's up? How y'all doing tonight? A little bit later tonight. Y'all over on the East Coast, my friends over on the East Coast are burning the midnight oil tonight. So thank you for doing that with me. So good to be with you all tonight. Kids had a Christmas program that I wasn't anticipating taking as long as it did. Wasn't going to go live tonight, but I did want to get in a little bit of a live stream with you all tonight. Hey, Brent, how are you doing tonight, buddy? Hey, make sure that if you're watching this on Facebook, that you're sharing it into the groups that you're in. Make sure that you also check out Brent and my group over there. It is called Zepbound for Weight Loss. Hope that you're all doing well tonight. It's good to be with you. We're going to talk about, it's going to be a little bit of a disjointed show. I don't have a lot of time to prepare, but there's a ton of information out there that I put in the last couple of days on the Zepbound savings card. Apple got her Zepbound today. That's so awesome. So it's so awesome to see everybody being able to get on the new version of Manjaro, which is Zepbound for weight loss. So welcome, Rudy. Welcome, Jay. Good to have you here. The show was good. Sue the Dude gifted a membership over on YouTube. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. You, Leslie's giving roses over on TikTok. Thank you for the gifts. They are always appreciated, but never expected. So, like I said, a little bit of a disjointed show tonight. We're probably just going to get right into the news. So no real rhyme or reason to the show tonight because I didn't have a chance to prepare, but we're going to get to it anyway. Let's just talk about what's fresh in the world of GLP-1s this week. So what's fresh is that for most people, or at least a great many people in the country, you now have access to Zepbound. So people are looking at how they can get their script from their doctor. They're looking at which pharmacies have it, those types of questions. So what we're going to focus on tonight is the Zepbound savings card, and we're going to take all your questions about Zepbound. So if you have questions about Zepbound, throw them in the chat. But yeah, Eve, welcome to the stream. Jennifer, welcome to the stream. PMAC, how are you? It's so good to have you all here with us tonight. Sandra asked if Zepbound is the same as Manjaro. It's 100% the same thing. Zepbound is for weight loss and Manjaro is for type 2 diabetes. Otherwise, everything's the same. Quietly Raging spoke to a lot of pharmacies today to try to find Wegovy, and a lot of them said January 31st they are. Yeah, so they're trying to get that trying to get that supply chain ironed out for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the Zepbound savings card. A lot of people this past week have been showing up to the pharmacy. They got their prescription. Their pharmacy said that their medicine was ready. They go there, they go to pay, and they find that the Zepbound savings card isn't saving them the amount of money that they thought. So I just want to run through what we got to the bottom of this week, and a special shout out to Brent, who is the moderator over at Zepbound for Weight Loss over on Facebook. That is the Zepbound group that I have over there. And Brent is my moderator over there. So let's talk a little bit about what people were having happen. So people were going, and again, so there's basically two kind of levels of this savings card, right? The one level is for those who actually have Zepbound coverage, meaning your insurance is paying some amount of Zepbound. It's covered. You get through the prior authorization process. It's on your formulary. The insurance company says we pay X. So if you have that type of insurance, then the Zepbound savings card is going to likely take your copay down to about $25. Now, these are copay assistance cards. So what does that mean? It means that the card that you download from Eli Lilly's website, zepbound.lilly.com, is going to pick up part of your copay. The maximum that it'll pick up on your copay is $150 though, right? So what people were doing was the people who expected to have the second level of the card. And that's for people who do have commercial insurance, but do not have weight loss coverage on their insurance. Zepbound is not covered. So in other words, your insurance pays zero. You have commercial insurance through your employer or the marketplace, and your insurance pays zero. If you have that savings card, then really that savings card is going to save you $563 and change off of the retail price, right? So these people went in expecting to pay roughly half, is about $1,200 is about the retail price of Zepbound. So they went in expecting to pay about half of that. And what they found was it was only taking about $150 off of the retail medicine. So let's talk about why that was happening, or why it continues to happen for some people. For some people, if you have commercial insurance and Zepbound is not covered, your PBM oftentimes takes part in like savings programs. While it's not directly insurance, it's a co-op sort of is the best way that I can explain it. And they take a little bit off, maybe like $50 or $100 off of the medication. Really no significant coverage, but coverage nonetheless. So what happens is the pharmacies are running your insurance, and it's paying a little bit. And because it's paying a little bit, when they go to run the majara or the Zepbound savings card, it's seeing that, and then it's considering you as covered and only taking the $150 off. And what I've found is it's very hard to opt out of this through your PBM. The best thing you can do is to contact your PBM and see if there's a way around opting out of said discounts. And the other thing you can do is just have your pharmacy tech try to run it again through just the savings card. It typically, I've heard a couple anecdotal stories of that working, but I can't imagine that would work on a widespread basis. So if you're getting there and you're finding you're paying more than you thought you would, you may want to contact your PBM and see if maybe there's a way that your pharmacy tech can help you work through that a little bit. So that's the main thing that people are running into with the Zepbound savings card, is just paying more when they aren't expecting it. Some other questions that keep coming up is it at my pharmacy? Does insurance X cover it? It's very important for you all to understand that your insurance company, even though you may have Blue Cross in one state and somebody else in the group or on the chat has Blue Cross as well in another state, has no bearing on whether you have coverage for Zepbound or they have coverage for Zepbound. There's different basically plans that are offered in every state between even the same company. And then your employer's opting into one plan that's going to be different than anybody else in the chat. So it doesn't exactly mean anything. If somebody has the same insurance and it's not covered, doesn't mean that you aren't going to be covered, or vice versa. Welcome, Pastor Knight. So the main thing that you want to make sure is that your insurance company or your pharmacy is running the insurance first as the first payer, and then the second payer on that should be the savings card. No other discount should be run. Another common question: you cannot stack like a savings, like a GoodRx coupon, with the manufacturer savings card from Lilly. They just are not going to work together. So those are some of the common questions that we're getting asked about the Zepbound savings card. I know that it's kind of frustrating right now. Everything's new. If your doctor has not heard of Zepbound or it's not in their system to prescribe, have them write you a handwritten prescription for tirzepatide. If you have tirzepatide 2.5 or tirzepatide whatever, you should be able to take that to your pharmacy and they should be able to run it through Zepbound. If you get to the pharmacy and they've never heard of Zepbound, have them look it up from their distributor, and they should be able to get it from their distributor. If they're not able to get it from their distributor, go to another pharmacy because it is available. It's widely available at this point. So you may just have to play that game of calling around to different pharmacies, finding out who can get it. But it should be within their system at this point for them to get. Charles wants to know if I think all insurance that covers Wegovy will cover Zepbound. I think ultimately they will. I don't have a beat on what the timeline is going to be for that. But if you have coverage for Wegovy, more than likely soon enough you will have coverage for Zepbound. It'll be really interesting to see, though, what Novo Nordisk does if they're going to move those prices down. I think the savings card with Novo Nordisk is a little bit more accommodating. So what people are actually paying out of pocket versus what the drug companies are charging are two different things. And then how much of those of the payment of the total medication is arbitrated between the PBMs and the pharmacies and the manufacturers. It's just a real mess where the PBMs are in the middle taking their cut. And so it's not exactly clear like what medication is actually cheaper for the insurance to companies to cover. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So I'm not 100% sure that, just because they have Wegovy, that because tirzepatide is cheaper, that they'll adopt it. But my sense is they're priced close enough that they ought to probably be adding that if they're already covering Wegovy. One of the other important things that people are asking a lot is it's not on my formulary. It's not on my formulary. My formulary hasn't updated. Well, typically a formulary only updates every quarter. So sometimes you just have to be patient with that. So Pastor Knight wants to know how Ozempic is working for me. It's working really great. Definitely was stronger the first couple of days. I ended up taking the other half of the dose about midweek. I took half a milligram one day and half a milligram the next day. I think this week I started again with 1 milligram. I took that today. I think starting next week, I'm going to go up to the 2 milligram. I think that first few days I had MOUNJARO in my system still might have made it a little bit stronger. Let's see. Jennifer's got a question. Let's see. Sorry, the chat's jumping. Of course, as soon as I go to read it, the chat jumps. Why do we even ask to see if the plan I have has up covered? It says no weight loss programs. Yeah, if it says flat out no weight loss programs, then you're going to be on the MOUNJARO savings card at the $550 rate. So expect to pay about $550. Kim said, thank you for the information. I was well informed when I spoke to my doctor about Zepbound. Yeah, I've heard from several people today that I know that I've kind of been inundating the feed with Zepbound savings card information. But I'm doing it because it's helping people. I've had so many people reach out to me in the last couple of days saying, I took your video to the pharmacy. We went through it step by step and I got the savings card and it worked as it's supposed to. I mean, you got to understand that like this is brand new for the pharmacies. They don't watch these programs. They don't stay in tune with the way that we do. So it's just, helpful. Hey, James, how are you tonight? Welcome into the chat. It's good to have you here, buddy. Natalie says, good to hear Ozempic's working. Is it okay to move my MOUNJARO up one day? So the manufacturer, Janae, says that if you change your shot day, that make sure at least 72 hours have elapsed. So take that information for what you will. Let's see here. Catching up with the chat. Natalie, good to have you here. That's awesome. Welcome. It's so good to hear all these people are getting their scripts filled, and I think that it's just awesome. So yeah, like I said, sorry about inundating the feed with everything Zepbound savings card, but there seems to be a little bit newer information that pops up every day that I feel like needs to be shared. So if you want to go back and check those videos out, if you're having issues with your Zepbound savings card, on TikTok, I've created a playlist for the Zepbound savings card. Just go watch this, probably about only 10 minutes worth of content in total. And you can watch that from the start to the finish. You'll know all the ins and outs of how that savings card works. I'll probably have to go back through and refresh my own memory on those as well. because you fill your head with all this information and sometimes it just falls out. Make sure if you're here and you're new that you put an N in the chat next to your name. Let me know that you're new here. I would love to welcome you by name. If you have not already, make sure that you follow my channel. Whether you're on YouTube, TikTok, or Facebook, follow Man on the Mounjaro. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit that follow button on TikTok, and make sure you join my Facebook group, Zepbound for Weight Loss. And I have an Instagram and a Twitter as well. D, welcome. You're new. That's awesome. Make sure you tap that follow the live creator up there. YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe down there. Oh, Miss Tapman's in the stream. That's awesome. Laura Kirk says hi from Florida. Hi from Iowa. Laura, welcome. Will MOUNJARO savings card. And now that there is Zepbound. So that's another thing that I wanted to get to tonight, Stephanie. So thank you for reminding me. So I think that come January 1st, we will have a new MOUNJARO savings card. And I think it'll be very, very similar to what it is now. I think that if you have been on MOUNJARO without a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, I would expect that it will be much harder for you to get in on the next savings card, because they're going to want to push people to Zepbound who are taking it for weight loss. James, thank you for the $2 super chat, buddy. 15. I'm not sure what that means. That can't mean that you're on the 15 milligram, James. I think last time we talked to you, you had moved up to the 7.5. So I would expect 10 would be the next one, but put that into a little context for me. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you for those who are following the live creator. Tina May is new and following from Ohio. Welcome to the stream. Brent makes a great point. If you don't have Zepbound coverage today, but do have weight loss coverage, be sure to check again January 1st, because many companies update their formulary at the start of the quarters, the years, and the months. So that's great information from Brent, who will actually be a guest on the show live in a couple weeks here. So a couple show notes for the next couple of shows. Next week, Chrissy G is going to be joining me. So Chrissy G will be on the show next week. She was kind enough to let, she was going to be on the night, but I didn't think I was going to get a live in. And even if she would have stayed on, it would have been late. So she said she'd come on next week. So we'll have Chrissy G on next week, who is back on the pen. It'll be good to hear from her again. Let me know in the chat if you are excited about seeing Chrissy G again. And then the following week, as long as everything goes according to plan, we will have Brent, whose comment is pinned there, who is the moderator of my Facebook group, Zepbound for Weight Loss. Mimi is in the chat tonight. Mimi, welcome. How are you tonight, Mimi? It's good to see you in here. Thank you for being here. Stephanie's got some bummer information. She said Cigna doesn't cover squat. And Cigna is one of those companies that a lot of people were having trouble with the Zepbound savings card, where they were going to run it and they were expecting the $550 off because they didn't have coverage. But Cigna, at least in certain plans, participates in that co-op, which takes a little bit off. And so they're only getting $150 off their script. So that's frustrating. Tammy wants to know, does anyone know if Medi-Cal will pay? So any state funded or federally funded program will not be able to participate in the savings program. I'm going to have a really interesting, James with the $20 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, James. That's awesome. Thank you very much for that $20 super chat. I'm going to be doing a really interesting video this week about the future of savings cards in general, because they are really on the chopping block in some regards. We're a little afraid that the Biden administration is going to move to pull back some rules that were put in place during the Trump administration. It all deals with how insurance companies factor in towards your deductible what the manufacturer savings cards are covering. So it's going to be a really interesting video. I'm excited to do a little bit more research on that because, we don't want to hear that our savings cards could be going away, obviously. James said, how are you doing on Ozempic? So I talked a little bit about it earlier. Pretty good, man. The appetite suppression is stronger with Ozempic. It's been hard to tell because when I first took it, I was only 5 days removed from taking MOUNJARO. So I think I still had some MOUNJARO in my system. And so I was probably double dipping a little bit. So I probably felt it a little bit stronger. But the thing is, I haven't taken 2 milligrams at once yet. and that is the highest dose. I think I'd be able to tolerate it. I am a little bit worried because of how strong it is the first day after you take it. I'm a little concerned about jumping all the way up to 2. So maybe I'll do like 1.5 next week. So I ended up taking the 2 milligrams throughout the week ultimately, but I just took 1 milligram today. If your employer touts a narrative that they prioritize employee wellness but don't cover weight loss drugs, you should question what their priorities truly are. That is an excellent point, Brent. Yeah, it's not. If you have one of those employers who is perpetually touting diversity, equity, and inclusion, but excludes medicines for our chronic disease, that is obesity, you really should be questioning how much they actually believe in that and how much of that is just a line, right? So excellent point, Brent. Absolutely true. Let's see, what side effects? Side effects as far as what goes. Ozempic, I really haven't had any side effect. The main side effect that I've had is just appetite suppression, which has been really, really great. One of the things that I want to tell you all about is I had a company reach out to me about 2 months ago. Company's called Zen Nutrients. The link is in the description of my YouTube page. Zen Nutrients, and they sent me a bottle of something called Peptide Vite. And Peptide Vite is a really great supplement that is actually formulated for people on a GLP-1. So when you're on a GLP-1 and you're losing weight, you want to fight back the loss of key minerals, and as you flush them out with water too, it compounds that. So as you're losing weight, you're flushing them. As you're drinking water, you're flushing them. So it just helps replace some of that stuff. And then there's a metabolism booster. And so I've been taking that. If you are interested in it, I've been really happy. I think that may have been, because I've been taking it for about 6 weeks now. When I started Ozempic, I think that may have helped to ward off some of those side effects, because as I've said many, many times before on this channel, the side effects that you feel on GLP-1s are oftentimes side effects of weight loss, reduced caloric intake, not getting the same amount of nutrients that you're used to. So check it out. Links in the description. Peptide Vite. If you use code DAVEK, you'll save 10%. Oh, thank you, James. I appreciate that. So Sherry wanted to know why are you on Ozempic now instead of MOUNJARO or Zepbound? So I was on the 15 milligram of MOUNJARO for a long, long time, and I've been stalled for like 6 months. So I just wanted to see if I responded better to semaglutide. And so far, from an appetite suppression standpoint, I have. It's really interesting with me as far as the difference in how semaglutide works. So it's like I feel like, and maybe if you have taken Ozempic or semaglutide before, let me know what your experience is, because I feel like the appetite suppression really comes in waves. And it's also like when I eat on semaglutide, I feel much fuller for longer. So I feel like Ozempic works best when I eat. And that's hard to like wrap your brain around, because you're like appetite suppression, you're trying to eat less. Well, what happens is if I go for long periods of time, I'm just as hungry. But once I do eat, the fullness and the suppression is very, very strong. Let's see here. Pam said, hey, did you hear about Chef Michael Chiarello, girlfriend, saying he got allergic reaction due to GLP-1 meds? I did not. I don't even know who that is, but interesting. What kind of allergic reaction are we talking? Obviously, with any injection, you could run the risk of reactions to any injection at the injection site. Interesting. Sue said you got to stay hydrated, but watch the depletion. Yeah, stay hydrated. One of the warnings on GLP-1s is kidney, watching for your kidneys, because you can become dehydrated by way of diarrhea, vomiting. If you're experiencing those, you can become dehydrated, which is a concern. He died. He was a famous chef on the Food Network. Interesting. And they're blaming it on GLP-1s. Count me as immediately skeptical. Natalie's on Wegovy, has been for 8 months. The appetite suppression is real. Yes, it's when you eat. Yeah, and Natalie, I never really experienced that on Mounjaro. I mean, I would get fuller faster sometimes. Like when I first dose up the first couple of days, I would get fuller faster when I ate. But Ozempic is totally different. When I eat even a small amount of food, it makes me feel full for a very long time. Like physically, like I can feel food. You just, the slowing of the gastric emptying seems to be better for me on semaglutide. His girlfriend got sick, I think she meant. Oh, his girl. Oh, okay. But she said he died. I don't know. I'll have to look into it, Pam. That's interesting. And thoughts and prayers to the family. James said he lost 36 pounds and then went up and down and up and down and up and down, gained back 15. Dave said, asked for an increase from 5 to 7.5, did, and my weight loss kicked back in, and I'm down 22. Awesome, James. I'm so glad to hear that. And it's good to hear from you, buddy. I'm glad. I know that you were back in here maybe last week or the week before, but it's good to hear from you again. I was wondering over the last couple of months how things were going for you. So awesome. Lil Chi sugar is low. Now, what's low for you, Lil Chi? What are my thoughts on if and when we'll start to see insurance coverage? It's going to be a slow burn to get insurers on board. So first of all, you have to get your employer on board with covering weight loss medications. That's going to be a really important part, Sherry, is just getting your employers on board. If your employers are already on board, then it becomes a question of when will insurance is added to their formularies. And I think it'll happen really fast. The price point for tirzepatide, Zepbound is lower than it is for Wegovy. That's not counting, some of the spiffs that the PBMs get. PBMs can get up to like 30%. I think it's like 30-40% of the total cost of the prescription. And what happens is the manufacturers of these drugs work deals with the PBMs just to get it on the formulary, right? And so the PBMs just take a cut for being a PBM, which seems to be pretty big conflict of interest for the patients. That the big conglomerates of insurance companies are the ones that are now, getting paid by the manufacturers to put, it's like a pay to play type of thing. And it's because of the ubiquitousness of insurance companies. It's not right. And we are the ones that are paying the price literally. Hey, Carrie Lee Parker Mass is here. Thank you for the rose, Carrie. It's good to have you here. Make sure you give Carrie a follow. Peptide-like supplements. Yeah, Natalie. So I was talking about Peptide Vite. You can go to the link in the description of my YouTube video there. It's what is there? Zen Nutrition, Zen Nutrients, zennutrients.com. I better double check that. It is linked in the description of my YouTube video, but it's zennutrients.com/Mounjaro Man. zennutrients.com/Mounjaro Man. Or if you just go there, just use promo code DAVEK. Peptide Vite is the supplement that I've been taking that I think has really helped me as I've started Ozempic. And it's like, for a while I was doing the keto essential electrolytes, and I was looking for certainly somebody's going to come along and formulate something that's actually made for people that are on GLP-1s. And so Devin and his team is in Nutrients. Devin, I believe, he's a board certified pharmacist and medical doctor. I believe I'm getting that right. And him and a team of other pharmacists and physicians have come up with, basically a multivitamin that addresses deficiencies that people can have when they're on a GLP-1 to mitigate side effects, specifically energy and nausea, and help to fight fatigue and help to boost your metabolism. So if you go to zennutrients.com/Mounjaro Man and use code DAVEK, you can get 10% off. So thank you. Thank you for those who are following my channel. Thank you for those who are hitting that like, hitting that bell, and hitting that sub. Y'all are helping me out. People are dropping gifts on me over on TikTok. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that. Dave, please tell us more. I know jack nothing about nutrition supplements. Yeah, so sure, Sue the Dude. Jen, welcome to the stream over on Facebook. It's good to have Facebookians over here. So Zen Nutrition or Zen Nutrients, like I said, they are a combination of physicians and board certified pharmacists that came up with these this formulation for basically people on a GLP-1. It's called Peptide Vite. And so they research this stuff and they manufacture all the supplements in the United States in FDA registered facilities. And they follow the CGMP, which is current good manufacturing processes. They use organic, bioavailable, and non-GMO ingredients. And their ingredients are pharmaceutical grade, and they're third party attested to ensure safety and compliance. So a really, really legit company when it comes to how they source their ingredients, what they put together. We're talking about really, really smart people. And Devin is a great guy. Just have gotten to know him a little bit. So I have been on Peptide Vite for about six weeks, maybe a little bit longer even. And I really think that when I moved over to Ozempic, I expected to experience side effects, because that's the story I hear universally from people who have to go on Ozempic after being on Mounjaro, which isn't a ton of people, but the people who have had to do that, I've heard like, oh, the side effects are brutal. And I have had none. I've literally had zero side effects other than just really, really good appetite suppression after I eat. And then I have, even when I'm not eating, I have suppression in waves. It's really different. It's just, it's a very different medication, even though they're acting similarly, right? Both acting on GLP-1 receptors, and Mounjaro, obviously the GIP as well. Even though they're both, mimicking hormones that we make, the peptides and the molecules themselves are different and hit different. Hey, Kim, man, thanks for the rose. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Sherry, for getting the gifter badge and giving the fire. Make sure that if you're just joining over on TikTok, you smash that love button. If you're on YouTube, that little heart button, you can hit that, and make sure you hit that like button over on YouTube as well. Denise was on Mounjaro, which insurance would not pay for. Just picked up Zepbound, and your insurance won't pay for that either. They said you had to try drugs that were covered first. Yeah, so a lot of times, Denise, your insurance company is going to require something called step therapy, and they are going to prefer that you fail on a cheaper medicine first. So talk to your doctor about what that process might look like. But in order for me to get Mounjaro, I had to have failed on Ozempic or on metformin first. Thankfully for me, I had already failed on metformin. So I had already gone through the step therapy and didn't have an issue getting it. So make sure you talk to your doctor about what you can do to get around that. Brett said 15% reduction in all-cause mortality rates with higher omega blood concentrations. Interesting. Where did we get on that topic? It was interesting. Let's see, James. Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. The different insurance companies. Hey, if you're just getting in here, we've been talking about the Mounjaro savings card or the Zepbound savings card. I do want to talk a little bit about the Mounjaro savings card, because there are people who are living on that Mounjaro savings card who are not diabetic now. And I just want to forewarn you, if that is you, if you are somebody who is on Mounjaro and you're riding that wave, you're not switching to Zepbound because maybe you don't have coverage for that either. And why, if something's broke, don't fix it. Or if something's not broke, don't try to fix it, right? But come the first of the year, this coupon will be expired. I do believe they'll come out with another one, but I do believe they're going to make it very difficult for you to stay on it if you're not diabetic. So you should be making your plans right now. Right now is the time to be getting a 3-month fill from your doctor. So that you have a little pad and a plan. Brent Tuggle, one of my mods my only mod over in the Zepbound for Weight Loss group, is always talking about having a plan. He's got a group of a men's GLP-1 for weight loss group as well. And Brent is always preaching about making sure that you have a plan. If you're on the Mounjaro savings card right now and you're relying on it, get a 3-month fill right now so that you have some buffer as we move into the new year. Hey, Deliza, how are you? Jim Osborne, welcome to the chat, buddy. How are you tonight? From Yahoo on the chef's death, it was believed that the injectable medication could have contributed to the Food Network star's demise. I'm curious what the cause of death for this person was. Who knows? I mean, I'm not buying it. It seems clickbaity to me, and I can't imagine how, other than some of the things that you've heard of about gastroparalysis, but that stuff's very treatable. So Dave, to Jennifer, Nebraska comment, do we need to switch up our peptides? I mean, that's what I did, right? Right, Jennifer, I switched the peptide. I moved to semaglutide and people were like, why are you doing that? And they still continue to ask me, why did you move off of MOUNJARO? And I don't necessarily intend it to be forever, but these medications, even though they're all peptides, are all different molecules, and you never know, the chemistry in your own body, how it's going to respond to one or the other. And it seems like I have a stronger reaction chemically to semaglutide. He had a heart attack from anaphylactic shock. So anaphylaxis is something that can happen, and that is a warning on any injectable medication. That is why we stay away from the research grade stuff. That is why, we're very careful about compounds and things like that. But anaphylaxis is something that can happen, and that is very, very, very scary. But I wouldn't say that's a GLP-1 issue. That's an injectable medicine issue. I totally understand why Dave moved like him. I stalled after yo-yoing up and down for 5 months or 6 months, and it's very psychologically depressing. Yeah, James, I agree, and I'm very thankful for the community that I have here on YouTube, because honestly, when those downs are down, it's very frustrating. My doctor kind of looked at me cross-eyed when I said I want to move to semaglutide. He's like, well, it's not as good of a medicine. I said, well, I've heard from enough people at this point, because I probably interact with more people on GLP-1s than he does. I said, I've heard from enough people that do switch that it is different. It's a different experience. And so I wanted to see for myself, and so far seems to be better. Although the scale didn't move this week, but I'm definitely not, I'm definitely more, how are you feeling type thing. And I feel like if the appetite suppression is there, then the weight probably will come. But at this point, I'm just trying to feel good, keep my sugars controlled, and keep this thing going for the community and the people that these do work really well for. Jim said they'll try anything to disparage GLP-1s. Absolutely, they will. What is the Expound savings card price-wise? I don't know anything about an Expound savings card. Sorry. I mean, I can tell you what the savings card for Zepbound should save you. Oh, is that what you're saying, Kate? Did you mean Zepbound savings card? Kate, I'm going to just direct you, since we've covered it on here. Thank you for asking the question, Kate. Sorry, I should have connected the dots at what you meant. Kate, go to my page on TikTok, and I have a playlist right at the top that says Zepbound savings card. Just start watching those videos from the first one. It's probably only 10 minutes. It's for 5 or 6 videos now, but it's probably only about 10 minutes of content. And by the time you get done watching that, you will be able to tackle the world with your savings card. So check that out. Make sure you follow the live creator if you're over on TikTok. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're over on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you join our group, Zepbound for Weight Loss. They said it was an Ozempic type. Yeah, I love how they just throw them all in the same boat. Chef Michael was also on MOUNJARO first, and then it looked like he may have also been taking Ozempic at the same time. Oh, yeah. I'm not hearing great stories anecdotally about mixing these medications. Thanks, James. James said, we love you so much for creating your wonderful channel and for helping us all get together and share our journey. Yeah. I mean, I'm just the conduit. What makes this channel great is the community. A special shout out to Sue the Dude, Sue YouTube, who is my loyal moderator. He's here every week, rain or shine. He's here and he's keeping that chat going. He's, I'm doing a live show. I can't really keep the chat going all that much usually, because I usually have a itinerary that I'm trying to get through. But Sue the Dude is the one that keeps us going. So shout him out in the chat. Give him some love, because, I mean, this community would not be the same. This community would not be without Sue the Dude. I mean, those of you with the little icons next to your name that are members, you are probably a member. Many of you are members because Sue the Dude is gifting them constantly. So Sue the Dude, thank you. I know he doesn't want me to shout him out like that, but he deserves it. And thank you. And thank you all for being members. Those of you who are members of the channel, you really keep this thing going. And those that give super chats all the time, like James, thank you. Those who give gifts on TikTok as well. Really good. What about some of the new ones in the pipeline? Any updates? Yeah, so one big update. So we've talked a lot on this channel about orforglipron. Orforglipron is the small molecule Eli Lilly oral pill. that seems to be doing really well. I did some updates on that the other day, but Pfizer had a twice daily small molecule version that they've abandoned because of side effects. And it seems like the small molecule, when they get away from peptides and they start doing GLP-1 receptor agonism with anything but peptides, it seems very, very difficult to accomplish. So interesting that Pfizer dropped that candidate. The president and CEO of Johnson & Johnson came out this week and said Johnson & Johnson will not be getting into the weight loss medication game because it's too crowded. It's like $100 billion market, but apparently it's too crowded. I don't see that. So we'll see how long he lasts. So interesting. Jennifer's membership was gifted by Sue. Absolutely. Yep. Rudy says, you demand, Sue. Rudy J OTP. Rudy J OTP. Does that OTP stand for on the pen? Because if it does, that's amazing. Retatrutide, 3 peptides. Retatrutide is just one peptide, but it mimics 3 hormones. It mimics GLP-1, like Ozempic and MOUNJARO. It mimics GIP, like MOUNJARO, and then it adds a third, which is the glucagon receptor. And when they add that third glucagon receptor, that's when things can get a little bit squirrely from a heart rate standpoint. So that's what we're watching with retatrutide. I did not take out the trash this week. Maybe I'll run the bumper because the bumper ought to be the Johnson & Johnson guy. Let's just run it anyway. So the fake news this week is definitely the Johnson & Johnson CEO saying that they will not be getting into the weight loss market because it is, quote, too crowded. Okay, Johnson & Johnson. That's some trash right there. If I heard that and I was invested in Johnson & Johnson, I would be moving to other options. Eli Lilly in their literature warns not to take another GLP-1 on MOUNJARO. Yeah, they all do, I'm sure. I'm sure they do. Jim Osborne, holy smokes, man. You got to be kidding me. A $49.99 super sticker. Thank you, Jim. Holy smokes. That is extremely generous. Thank you, man. I really, really, really appreciate that. And so do my kids. I'm making back some of the money because this week I've got all of my things lined up here behind me. Everybody's got a handwritten card. Everything's got their stuff addressed. I got to get into the post office. If you watched last week, we had major giveaways. So that will go a long way, Jim. Thank you so much to helping to pay for the postage. All this. You're going to put a hurting on it. So thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that. That's very generous, Jim. Both Jim and James tonight with the super chats. The Walmart CEO had an update on their new perspective on GLP-1s. Oh yeah, what was that, Liz? Enlighten us. Semaya. Hello, I've been taking Ozempic. It's going on my 2nd week. Is it normal to feel bloated? I don't know. I mean, are you? This is a personal question, but is everything moving as it should be through the old digestive system? You want to make sure that you're regular is what I'm getting at. And if you're not and you're feeling bloated, go see a doctor immediately. Thanks, James. Yeah, one of the things I have to get through here is the echoiness. I have not had time, y'all. I started a new job. A lot of things going on around the holidays. So I have not had the chance to get the sound quite squared away in here, but yeah. So Sue the Dude asked if I've covered Pemvidutide. We did cover it, I think in a oh gosh, long time ago when I kind of went through a whole bunch of them, maybe like 6 months ago. Pemvidutide is a novel peptide GLP-1 glucagon dual agonist. So MOUNJARO is GLP-1 and GIP. This is GLP-1 and glucagon. And so it's being developed for the treatment of obesity and NASH. And so what they're finding is a lot of these dual agonists, like retatrutide was a triagonist. The dual agonists and the triagonists are really, really good at just wiping out fatty liver. So that is a huge positive thing. I'm trying to think who pemvidutide is being developed by. Who is developing pemvidutide? Altimmune is developing pemvidutide. And you notice what it ends in. Utide, right? All the utides. Another polypeptide, long chain of amino acids mimicking two incretin hormones, your glucagon and your GLP-1. Yeah. They're not following customers around anymore. Liz says Walmart's not following their GLP-1 customers. Yeah, I'm sure they got some blowback from that. They're like, wait a minute. You follow my shopping habits based upon what medicines I take? That feels intrusive. James loves it when I mention all the utides really, really fast. Yeah. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Mounjaro. That pen, right? Semaglutide, dulaglutide, liraglutide, semaglutide, tirzepatide, pemvidutide, all the utides. Yes. All right. Well, I tell you what, I've been streaming here for a good bit longer than I had intended on tonight. Really appreciate you all being here. I really appreciate the gifts and the encouragement. Once again, I wanted to just plug Peptide Vite. The link is in the description on Roll Utides. Want to just plug zennutrients.com/MOUNJARO. Check that out. Peptide Vite. I really recommend that to anybody who is on a GLP-1 journey, honestly. Moving from MOUNJARO to Ozempic, I was expecting to have side effects. And honestly, as much as it pains me to say it, it has been a better experience. No side effects, better appetite suppression. And I don't know if Peptide Vite has been part of that or not. But I can tell you I'm not changing any of my routine at this point. I'm not going to. I will keep using the Peptide Vite, and I strongly recommend it. It comes from a really good source. Read about it yourself if you're interested in. I have not been one to really hawk products or anything, but when Peptide Vite reached out to me, I thought, oh, that's really cool that somebody's actually making a supplement designed for people who are on this medication. The more and more I looked into it, the more and more I learned about the company, the more I was like, hey, send me some. Let's get this thing started. So if you want to try it out, you can try it out with a discount using code DAVEK. Links in the description of my YouTube video, zennutrients.com/MOUNJARO, and use code DAVEK to save 10%. So thank you all for being here. So good to have you. Billy Gilbert wants to know, can you get a 3-month refill on Mounjaro early if your doctor changes doses? Yes, you can. It is viewed as a new prescription. Thank you to Jim, and thank you to James. And Jim, your probably name is James too, so it's good night for the James brothers tonight. Thank you for the super chats tonight. I really appreciate that. Very kind and very generous of you. I hope for those of you who have been able to check out my videos on the coupons, the Zepbound savings cards, that they've been helpful. I have literally heard from people, 2 or 3 different people today that reached out and they were like, I took your video to the pharmacy and walked the tech on how to process the card, and it worked, and it saved me $500 over what the pharmacy told me at first. So it feels really good to be saving people money, especially around the holidays. So make sure that you share those. They're not getting a lot of views, which is fine. They're probably helping people more than any video that I've ever done. So if you are in a Zepbound group, make sure that you share those videos into those groups, because one thing that I've learned outside of the live streams, one thing that I've made an art form out of in the last year is learning how to say things fast to people, like, brevity, right? And so those videos are short and sweet and to the point, and can help you navigate your insurance issues, your savings card issues. So check it again. The code is Dave K. Denise is asking. You can find the link in the description of the video here, and it's listed there too. So peptidevite.com/MOUNJARO, and use code Dave K, all one word. So thank you. James says, we love you. Know you have a full-time job. Still find time to put on these. Yeah. And thank my wife too, James. and wife and 4 kids too, and they give up my time to do this. So I really appreciate y'all for being here. Make sure you hit that like, hit that bell, hit that sub before you go, hit follow over on TikTok, hit subscribe down below on YouTube. And we're going to catch you on the next stream, y'all. Thank you for joining tonight on this abbreviated, disjointed, but still fun and enjoyable on the Pen Live. Catch you next week.